Muted.
Hello, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon. My name is Ted Hulsy. I'm Vice President of Marketing at eFolder and your host for today's webinar event. Welcome to this special product launch event. Today we'll be introducing Anchor Collaborative Web Editing. The bulk of today's webinar will include a full-blown demo of collaborative web editing. I am joined today by eFolder CEO Kevin Hoffman and Matthew Dugan, Senior Product Manager on Anchor. Guys, are you there?
Hi, everyone. It's Kevin here.
Matt Dugan here.
All right, great. Welcome, you guys. Before we go through today's agenda, first let's cover a few housekeeping items. So first of all, you'll notice that I'm actually logged into Anchor on the web. I'm sharing my full screen with GoToWebinar. And now I'm going to actually run today's slide presentation from inside the Anchor Collaborative Web Editor. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay. So right now, you'll notice I'm in a web browser here, and I'm going to go ahead and actually put the slides into slideshow mode on the Collaborative Web Editor. A couple more housekeeping items. Today's session is being recorded. A recorded version of the webinar, along with the slides, will be made available to those who registered for the event. You can also always find all of our webinar events on eFolder's YouTube channel. With over 350 people registered for today's session, we've put all participants in listen-only mode, and you can enjoy the audio portion of today's event either by streaming it on your computer or by dialing in over the phone. Your questions are strongly encouraged throughout today's discussion. We have planned a special Q&A section at the end, but you may submit your questions as we go along, and I will try to address them on the fly. Kevin and Matt are going to be driving the bulk of the demo, so I will be able to monitor the Q&A log. So keep your questions coming. It's really why we do live webinars, to allow our partners to have real-time interaction with the team and to get your questions answered. So please leverage the Q&A. Let's go through the agenda real quickly. I'm going to spend just a few minutes up front giving some context. Most of you on the line today are either using Anchor or know about Anchor. However, I just want to spend a minute giving some background in case there's any new potential partners on the line who aren't familiar with Anchor. Then Kevin and Matt will do a full-blown demo of collaborative web editing and explore really common use cases that you can take to your clients today. And then we'll wrap up with some details on the release schedule and how to get started with Anchor or get started with collaborative web editing. So as I mentioned today, I'm joined on the line by founder and CEO of eFolder, Kevin Hoffman, and Matt Dugan, who's our senior product manager responsible for Anchor. So these two gentlemen will be leading the demo. In the next couple of minutes, I just want to give some brief context and overview. So Anchor, what is it? Anchor is a file sync, share, and collaboration tool designed for MSPs. So first of all, when we talk about sync, what are we talking about? It's the ability for your clients and their users to sync business content between their tablets, their laptops, their workstations, between servers, to be able to get access to your content in a highly mobile and distributed world, have all of that content synced to the cloud so it's available virtually from any kind of computing device and anywhere you go in the world. And it's also about sharing content. So there's many, many different use cases of where you need to share large files, share things easily with people outside of your organization, share sensitive documents with secure shares. So there's all these other use cases where you have different devices where you're computing from and you need to share with third parties, people outside of your organization, to drive business productivity. So that's really the sync and share use case that we've been driving for several years now. We have, thousands of partners utilizing Anchor every day and tens of thousands of business organizations using this to drive productivity and agility in their daily work lives. What we're introducing today and going to be talking about is the ability to actually collaborate on content on the web. So we're going to be giving a live demo of the Anchor Collaborative Web Editor, which allows your clients and users to create documents, edit documents, have multiple people in real time collaborating on content on the web, which is extremely important for kind of productivity, but it's also extremely important for privacy and security, because everything you do in the collaborative web editor happens inside an authenticated environment, whether you're an internal user or you're a secure share user, and it's all tracked and audited and controlled. And so it's really about secure collaboration. And this is really a game changer for Anchor. And I'm going to let Kevin and Matt show you in detail how this works. Now, just a couple other comments about the things that make Anchor unique as well. The product is built from the ground up with a multi-tenant capability. So it's designed for deployment by service providers. We also support a range of different integrations with common PSA tools like ConnectWise and Autotask. The product is HIPAA compliant. It supports Active Directory. We allow partners to do private cloud deployments, or you can license the product as a SaaS service where the storage and cloud services are included in the total bundle. And it's a product that is really designed in every single way for deployment by MSPs. We allow you to put your logo on it. We don't advertise MSRP pricing to the end user market. We allow you to price and package it how you want, bake it into your managed service how you want. So really, it's foundational in terms of how the product's architected from a multi-tenant fashion, but also the way we price and package and allow partners to really make it their own. So with that, that's kind of a way to just kind of quickly look back and introduce what's new and exciting. But I want to turn the ball over to Kevin to really explain where we're taking Anchor and some of the exciting innovations that we're bringing to market today.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ted. Excellent. So Anchor, we're just very excited about what we've been able to produce, because we feel that it changes the game on the value that Anchor delivers to your clients. And so we call this concept invincible productivity. So Anchor, we want to enable your users to be productive in the office, on the road, on the web, with their colleagues and their clients, anytime, anywhere. But at the same time, we don't want that productivity to be stopped by anything that could get in their way. You know, so whether it's data loss from endpoints or malware, you know, or it's down servers, or their network is down and they need to work offline, or they got hit by CryptoLocker, or they're messing with VPNs all the time. We don't want any of these things to get in their way, and Anchor has built-in features to remove these barriers to productivity, so that your clients can truly be productive. And collaborative web editing is a new essential way that your clients can work with Anchor, with others, with other colleagues internally, with people externally. It's been over a year in development, but we're very excited about, you know, what you can get, and it's available to all partners, all Anchor partners, at no extra charge. So collaborative web editing, you can create content online. You know, I could do everything from my web browser to do all of these things that are listed here. So create new content, Word documents, Excel documents, PowerPoint documents, and then invite others and start working on these collaboratively. And we'll show you what that means. We've got built-in chat. We integrate with the track changes feature in documents, and then commenting for all document types. It automatically saves as you type. Earlier today, I was using the Anchor collaborative editor on a team meeting with just an internal document, and my computer crashed. You know, had to reboot it, and I didn't lose a single character. It was all saved in real time. You can work on documents with anonymous users, so anyone who gets a link, you don't want to create a shared guest account. You can create a link with rights to edit the document. That works too. It works with notifications. It works with file locking, so local users see a read-only locked view of a document while it's being edited online. You can control how this works by administrative policy in Anchor. Bookmarks URLs are bookable, so if you're in a document, you can copy and paste that URL and send it to your colleague who has access to the document. They can start working on it immediately. And again, no extra charge for private cloud or public cloud users. So yeah, let's get to the demo, to the fun stuff. So I'm going to turn it over to Matt, who's going to walk us through the demo, and then I'm going to be in the background, playing around with these documents while while Matt's showing you how this works.
Okay, Matt,
Absolutely.
so you should have presenter rights. Yep, coming through. Great.
Thank you. You guys have video of me? Perfect.
Yep.
So on my left-hand side, I have my primary account that I'm going to be authenticating into our test instance here. And on my right-hand side, I've got a user account that's for John Doe, an anonymous type of user. But that's my secondary account over here. This is in incognito mode. So on my left-hand side, when I authenticate, it immediately takes me to my dashboard as an administrator. I get to see all of my organizations that I'm managing here. Let me just go ahead and quickly dial into the collaborative web editing organization that I created here for this test purposes. And I just want to show you real quick how simple this is to kind of switch on. I just navigated in the settings of my organization. We've got a policies tab here where I'm showing a significant amount of customization that you can choose to modify specifically to that organization. So right here we've got Enable Web Editing selected. That enables our users, as Kevin and Ted were just introducing, for this kind of invincible productivity method. So that's done there. Now I'm just going to quickly navigate into my files. This is going to take me out of my administrator view and put me into an end user view. I'm navigating into a team share there where I've got collaboration opportunity and potential with my colleagues here, such as Kevin, Ted, and then also the external collaborator that's over here. So on my left-hand side of my screen, again, this is myself authenticated as my primary first-class standard account user, standard user account. And on my right-hand side, you can see that this is a guest account. Someone that is not maybe an employee, but might be an external collaborator or a contractor of sorts. And so when they log in and authenticate, it immediately presents them with the content that they have access to. So I'm going to go ahead and start doing a little demo on this web editor here. So right off the bat, you can see we've got the ability to create folder, but then we also have documents, spreadsheets, and presentations. The moment I click one of these, it's going to open up and invigorate that web editor and grant me access to begin editing, and then I can create a share link and invite others to collaborate with me on that content. But let me go ahead and let's take a look at some use cases here so that we can show you guys what really the value is. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at a personal budget right now. It's just as simple as a right click of that content and click edit. So this is a spreadsheet. It's an XLSX spreadsheet. Opening this up and it populates immediately. Now let me just show you that there are two actual sheets here. One is a generic overview of the fields with some graphics. The other is the details. So I'm going to show you both of them simultaneously here. On the right-hand side, I clicked on it and it immediately places me into the editor as a guest, because ultimately you want your guest to begin collaborating with with no barriers. Just jump right into this secure opportunity to collaborate with you. So as that's populating, I'm going to go ahead and bounce back over here to the overview section, where I believe that Kevin might be able to join me as well because he has access to that content. So
yep, I'm in. So Matt, are you going to admit if this is your personal budget or not? Yeah, so we can play around with this. So I'm on the budget tab, and what if I want a bigger house? So right now the mortgage is $2,250 a month. So in the background, I'm going to change this to $3,000 a month instead. It's going to squeeze the upper limit of this budget, and as you can see, the graph changes in real time. These edits are happening, and so he was on the overview tab, I was on the budget tab. We're losing $500 a month, so I better get a new job that pays, more money. So maybe he gets lucky, and income goes up.
That's awesome. Thank you, Kevin. Now let's get out of the spreadsheet then, and let's go to what do we have next here? Legal document. That might be interesting. So let's
So
take
while
a
that's
look.
loading,
Go ahead. Yep.
you know, the Excel spreadsheets, it supports all the Excel formulas. You know, most of them, it supports named tables and filters, and you know, it's fairly advanced. So, you know, it won't do macros and a few other highly complex spreadsheets, but you'll be surprised how robust it is as you get in there and try it out.
Hey, let me just throw out a couple questions that came out from the Q&A log. So just Cameron wants a little bit of additional insight, and I think this is a clarification point. And the question is, does the collaboration work from Office apps, desktop, Word, Excel? So I mean, I think the important thing I think we need to clarify is how does somebody invoke like a collaboration session? We kind of dove into that pretty fast, so maybe back up and describe that.
That's a great question. So here I am on my left-hand side as my primary authenticated first-class user. I'm going to click on this menu item. And this menu opens up and expands some sub-menu options for me. And if I click here on Share Link, I could go ahead and specify a secure share which forces user authentication to access this. That's the most secure way to collaborate. But there's also a public share URL that's available. Now this is really interesting because I could make this document public and allow anonymous users to edit files with me. As I indicated, or as Kevin indicated, that we've got this full robust opportunity with bookmarkable URLs. The anonymous users with bookmarkable URLs, it would not require me to be in the editor. They'd be able to go in and edit at their free will. And then here I can go ahead and enter the email address or names that might be recognized by the system or unrecognized by the system if it's an email address. It can automatically create user accounts. So for example, when I first did this, I added mjdugan@outlook.com, and it automatically created a guest account, sent an email with guest credentials and the share link to access this specific content. So upon clicking in that email, the share link, it'll immediately navigate you to our tool. It'll prompt you for login, and it will ask you for your credentials of the email address that was specified and then the password that was shared with you via email. Once you authenticate, because we're built on security, we ask and force the guest account to specify their own customized password. And upon that, they can specify their first and last name. So here I specified my name as John Doe, modified my password, and I received modification privileges. It's as simple as a checkbox to be inviting others to collaboratively edit. If I denied this, it would show as just read-only. And I can show you that as soon as we close out. You'll see that the list of files that are available to me as John Doe do not all have access, full-level access. Some of them have been denied editing privileges, so they're in a read-only fashion.
So kind of a related question, Matt. If you're connected to synctool.com and open up the app, do you need Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint on that local computer to edit it?
That's a great question. No, you do not. This web editor is exclusive and entirely built within the Anchor system. You have no requirements or dependencies upon other applications, no licensing required for other applications. It comes completely at no additional cost for existing and new Anchor users.
Yep, so a kind of related question, you know, the normal workflow for many of your Anchor users will be they'll have SyncTool locally on their desktop and they want to start collaborating on a document, and the easiest way to do that is they'll right-click a folder in Windows Explorer and choose SyncTool from the context menu, View on the Web, and then they'll find the file in that folder, right-click it on the web, and choose Edit. And so, you know, that's just a couple of clicks to go from the desktop Explorer to collaboratively editing that document online using the SyncTool context menu on the desktop.
Ted, are there any more questions, or shall we continue with the legal doc here?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so this, just to kind of dig into that question a little bit more, you know, Wayne asked a follow-up question which says, you know, then this means the users don't need to actually be licensed for Microsoft Office, and that is correct.
Absolutely. Yep.
And you can imagine, I think, I mean, maybe talk about, Matt or Kevin, what are some of the different scenarios where you'd have a user who, would want to be just doing the collaboration only on the web? I mean, what are a couple of different use cases for that?
Yeah, I mean, you might have, some businesses have seasonal employees that are kind of lightweight employees that are around, or contractors that don't get full licenses to software. They still want to be productive within the organization. They might, have desktops in the cloud even, or, other systems. That's a perfect scenario where collaborative web editing could be sufficient for them. Email plus that gets you, all the way there for many types of office work. And so we think that those types of information workers, anyone who's using Google Docs instead of Office, this is a very robust solution for as well. I think you'll find the feature set very robust compared to Google Docs as well. So, I think those are a couple scenarios.
Yeah, and I guess I'll just interject with a couple other scenarios. I mean, there's a lot of situations where, for us road warriors out there, you're on the road and you need to actually edit a doc, do some lightweight editing on a document and print it out for people you're meeting with, and you might be in a FedEx office, or you might be in a hotel business center, and you don't, sometimes it can be very sloppy and dangerous to the security and privacy of your data if you have to actually download that content locally to that, public workstation. Yeah, some of the workstations will do kind of a flush of the whole system and wipe the data off, but you don't want to leave that to chance. So there's a lot of scenarios where you have sensitive documents, you want to edit them in a secure browser environment, print them out, and then close down that session and make sure you've left nothing behind. I mean, there's lots of different scenarios like that. So I think it's just important to note how these capabilities aren't just about kind of productivity for the user, they're really about safeguarding the privacy and security of your client data. So Matt, why don't we switch over here to the text editor and kind of show this off a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks, guys. So what I've got shown up here, again, on the left-hand side is my primary authenticated account. On the right-hand side is that guest external collaborator. On the right-hand side, the external collaborator has done some red line edits here. As you can see, I've hovered over in Kevin Hoffman's position on the screen. I can see here. I can also see the first-class user, Matthew Dugan's position on the screen over there. So as a external collaborator, I have updated and edited some content. So I'm going to go ahead and show, we've got some real-time chat coming in here from Kevin. So I'm just going to go ahead and respond to that. And we can show in real time how all of this works here just for the collaborative chat. So I've got myself just chatting away as two different identities here. John Doe on the right, Matthew Dugan on the left. Kevin Hoffman is at a remote location as well. All three of us have the ability to chat in real time. I'm going to go ahead and close that out, though, so that we can show you a little bit of what we pride ourselves on, one of the greatest features here. So this is track changes down here that I just hit, and I'm going to go ahead and review this document. So we've got some edits that came in, some red line edits that came in from our contractor. So the next change that I can actually select here, let's go ahead and take a look. He deleted this company insert, so I'm going to go ahead and accept that because we don't want that in the document. Just like that, you saw that update take place over here. It shows my icon and cursor that I'm the one that's actually making those changes. So let's take a look at this one as well. Deleted this section. I'm approving of that. Let's go ahead and accept this change. And let's see, inserted the date. Let's accept that. There are no problems there. I've reviewed that. And I'm going to go ahead and also accept the fact that they put in their company name. So this contract is kind of looking like it's coming together here. We've got one last update that just came in from our CEO here, it looks like. Kevin indicates that we need to update the title here. So let me go ahead and accept that one, and this looks like it's good. Let me go back into the chat and just make sure that this is finalized. And with a quick note to everybody, we can all say that, yep, looks good. Everybody indicates that we're good. So I'm going to go ahead and actually finalize and fully execute this agreement. So I'm going to go ahead and download to PDF right there. So that just downloaded and saved to my machine. And as you can see, we've got multiple different file formats that you can download as. We've got all sorts of menu items here. But that's a wrap on that document editor. So I'm going to go ahead and.
So Matt, before we leave the doc editing, just a couple questions that are kind of related, right? So Daryl wants to know what happens if another user edits the same file on a cloud-enabled file server. So I think that's kind of like, how does file locking work, and people who maybe aren't in the web editor?
Yeah, great question. So let me go ahead and return to my files right now just to show that. This is actually, these files right now are accessed and being locked. This is a lock icon overlay that indicates that it's being edited on the web. It honors those file locks all the way down through the desktop client. And the desktop client is also utilized for that file server enablement feature that's alluded to in the question. So there is no concern or problem. If that person does open up the locked file on that local machine near that for that desktop client, as Kevin alluded to before, that would honor that lock, and it would open in read-only mode. If they did decide to try to bypass that read-only mode, they would be editing in isolation away from this editing, and they would then have to submit those changes in that revision in a different way. It might cause a conflict, which we've got built-in conflict resolution to handle that. So that there should be no concern with fragmentation of data. Our tools are available to make sure that you maintain ownership over all options there.
So I'd like to point out as well that the track changes feature that you're seeing here is storing those track changes in exactly the same format that Word stores them in. So if you do all this online and then you exit the web editing session and you open up that same file in Microsoft Word and it's synchronizing in real time, you know, it takes a revision and into Anchor every 15 minutes or when you ask it to or when you close the session. You open that up, it's going to go through and have those as actual red lines in Microsoft Word. And so you can go back and forth between the two. And the example use case here is you've got firms, clients who are in the legal industry collaborating with, you know, their clients on legal documents all the time. And so rather than going back and forth and having all these versions, and especially as you get with, you know, 2 or 3 editors in a legal document, it's a nightmare. And, you know, we've lived this ourselves. And so this is much easier that you have one place to go to edit the document all together, and there's one copy of that document with revisions automatically being saved in the cloud as it happens.
Right, and I think there's a question from Mark. It says most of our clients are using Windows-centric access and use of file sync and share versus web-centric. Can you please elaborate on that use case? And I think the answer, Mark, to the question is that Kevin just alluded to, is this is not like an either-or proposition from a you know, workflow perspective. I mean, clearly when you're doing the collaborative web editing, you doing it in the browser is often solving a whole host of different problems like we've gone through already, primarily around multiple co-authors wanting to collaborate in real time. But it doesn't eliminate all of these different scenarios where you do collaborative web editing and then you may, you know, the document sync to your machine, and then you're you know, working on that document maybe later in full-blown access of Word. So it's not really an either-or proposition. You can kind of envision this seamless flow back and forth between all these different collaboration scenarios.
One interesting question I saw in the question log was about spell checking languages. So, you know, Matt, on the right there, down at the bottom, you can see there's English, you know, over to the left. So you can turn off spell checking, or you can change the language. You know, so give this a try. If you're in another country with another language, give us feedback, but it's ready to go. So, you know, let us know how it works.
Yeah, and I don't want to keep things in too much suspense in terms of the release cycle. Several questions have just come through, Matt, on when we're actually making this available. Can Can you just
Yep.
comment on the release schedule this week?
Yeah, absolutely. We can confidently say that we are going to be providing this to European and Canadian SaaS environments tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific in the U.S. Then we will also be delivering this to United States SaaS environments tomorrow, the 26th of January at 6 p.m. Pacific. And then the following Tuesday, the 31st of January, just before month's end, we will be delivering this to worldwide private cloud deployments. If you have the auto update turned on, there's no manual requirement necessary just to receive this update. However, as I showed before with that, the organization policy, you'll see that checkbox and that policy option available to you upon the upgrade to this new version, Anchor 2, version 2.5.3. So when you do
just go
receive
into your
this
parent
update,
org and turn it on.
yeah, that's right. Go into the parent organization, turn it on, and it will propagate all the way down through the sub-organizations. So there will be that manual process just to flip that switch on for you guys, but we will provide access to that feature upon release.
Okay, great. Before we leave the text editing, just a couple related questions. So someone was asking, we have legal clients who use WordPerfect. Will they be able to, will that work?
Doc would have to be converted first to todocx Word format. I think it might be able to open it. I'm not sure, Matt, but it would have to make changes, you have to be natively in the todocx format.
Yep, I believe it does, and sometimes there are automatic conversions that take place, like for example, a .doc to a .docx, but we definitely want to test that out.
Okay, and then
Yep.
can
so
you
there was,
go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, I saw a question, can I see document change history even if I open a document in native Office apps later? If you turn on track changes on the document editor here like you saw us do, then it's creating the red line track changes just like you'd expect to track changes on in Word. So that's how you can see exactly what changes were made. Otherwise with PowerPoint and Excel they don't have track changes, but they have commenting. And we'll show that in just a minute how that commenting works. But it's pretty similar to the native Office experience, the level of information you can receive on the changes that are visible.
Okay, and then there's several questions around just editing in a mobile browser. Can you guys talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a very similar to how it works with the web preview, whereas as you're on a mobile device for a tablet, mobile phone, whether it's Android or iOS, when you select to preview something, it redirects to the web on that mobile device and opens that up in preview mode. The same thing will apply for editing purposes, and that will be in a maintenance release immediately following this 2.5.3 update. The next release that we will ship will include that opportunity. We've got it in testing right now. It looks great, but we just want to make sure that we're not pushing out too much too soon.
Okay.
Also to add on to that, the editing experience on mobile is going to be for online clients, but we're working on native offline editing that looks just like this experience natively for mobile. So stay tuned. That's going to be just as exciting, we think, to have this quality of editing natively offline on mobile is going to be incredible.
Okay. And then just kind of before we, leave the text editor here, there's just a question from Christopher. Will the document editor change the formatting of the document if you open it up in Word afterwards? How's the compatibility or fidelity between, doing it on, doing the collaborative web editing in Word itself?
Yeah, so it's an HTML5 canvassing technology, and so the high fidelity rendering stays true to form. We have tested many, many, many different documents, and it's more or less an exact match. You might have an element here or there that's slightly off, but that's very common and also represented in all other web editors. So there's nothing new here except that we have, in comparison to other products that are out there on the web, this is the most true to original form rendering.
I mean, to add on to that, though, one of the basic premises is, if you open it up and you don't make edits, do no harm. And so even if it doesn't render correctly, if you're not changing that part of the document, it's still going to preserve that data in the original document when it's saved back. And so, we've been fairly careful in the engineering efforts to preserve document information, even if rendering is not 100% true to form. I'll give you an example. In Excel, it fully supports almost all chart types, but it doesn't support a combo bar and line chart right now. But if you make edits to the document, you can change all of the data and save it back and then open it up in Excel, and Excel will still show you the bar and line chart combo together, even though it doesn't show it that way in the online version.
Yeah, and then in the we had a closed beta with select partners that we worked through, and several of these partners supplied a bunch of various complex Word documents, and we fired them up side-by-side comparison in these engineering efforts in the beta program, and we saw that we were very proud. It's more or less always an exact match, and there's just that random one or two elements that's on a very low percentage of documents that might not be a total match.
Okay, and then Matt, can you talk a little bit about, we've talked about the deployment schedule to private cloud. Rob wants to know, how is end user data secured on the web collaboration server for partners with on-premises Anchor instances?
That's a great question. So when we do deliver this is going to be available for SaaS, obviously, to be utilized in the entire SaaS environment. When we deploy it and deliver it to private cloud, that is for private cloud to utilize our eFolder hosted servers and point to our eFolder hosted servers for this rendering. When we do the rendering, we render it and cache it in a totally encrypted cache and hold on to it for 24 hours. That cache is wiped. So we have no knowledge or access to your data at that time. We're simply just providing you with the services for a 24-hour period where it's cached. And we are also looking at providing web preview and web editing, collaborative web editing, at a later date for isolated private cloud on-premises deployments. So right now, this is kind of a halfway there. We're going to grant you guys access to this functionality, trusting that as a data protection company, we are keeping your data fully secured in our 24-hour cache, and we are dissolving that and wiping that cache clean. And then we'll be providing it for full isolation.
We recognize it's only a half solution for some partners, and that's why we're working on the fully private cloud option for web preview and editing, so it doesn't touch our cloud at all, and that's why it's not turned on by default. And especially for private cloud environments. But we do want to make it available because for many of you that will be acceptable and okay and is available immediately.
Okay, great. Why don't we move on to the presentation part of the demo?
Yep, and as we were talking, I just navigated over here to, I was in my files browser, and I navigated over to the activity log. And I just wanted to show you guys that in the activity log, you're able to see all of those, that record and that audit trail of what's happened. We've got all of these different items that are taking place here. So let me just go back into this team share, navigate here so that we can go ahead and collaborate over a presentation. Again, this is my first class user, my primary account on the left. I'm going to go ahead to my guest external collaborating user account on the right, and I'm going to get back to my shares item where I can go take a look at that presentation here. So that's going to fire up, and we'll see what we can do here. So we've got a fully brandable client pitch deck. Now this is really valuable for you all partners if you are going to a lunch and learn or you're doing a webinar such as we are today and you want to be able to increase your client outreach. So what we've got here is a slide deck and we've got several slides that are fully brandable and generic. And let's go ahead and see what we can do about myself, Kevin, and then our John Doe over here on the right-hand side collaborating. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see, your logo goes here, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this, and I'm going to input or insert from file. Let's go ahead and select a nice, beautiful Anchor red logo. That looks nice. Now let me go ahead and also open up chat here just to make sure that our, let's say it's a graphic designer. So he says a little to the left, the graphic designer, went a little to the right. There you go. We're just doing adjustments here. Kevin's modifying that for us on the fly. That looks perfect. Let me just go ahead and test that one in presentation mode. Bam. Beautiful. So I'm going to get back out of that presentation mode and right back into the editing section. There's a quick overlay that I've got a notification in a chat waiting for me. That was the little to the left comment. So now let's take a look here. Let's go back to slide number 2. So here I am on slide number 2, and everybody is navigated the same location. Now we're going to go ahead and do some real-time collaboration here. So I think Kevin might be modifying some text. He's adding a comment actually over here. Remove all references to Dropbox from the playbook. All right, we will definitely do that. So I'm going to go ahead and resolve that comment and indicate consider it done. So that's resolved. I'm going to go ahead and remove this. Now, in the same time, I'm over here as my third party, and I'm going to insert that logo in that bottom right while Kevin's maybe doing some modification of that text. So here we have this over here. It's a little too large. Let me go ahead and get you guys a little bit closer in here. So let's delete this one. Let's bring this one down. We've got some nice branding going on here now. Kevin did some modification of the text, which opens this up a little bit better with a clearer message, and that one's ready to go. Kevin is typing in real time, as we can see, and he just deleted it to clean things up again. So these are the values and the features that we have available here. As you can see, commenting, there's an entire side panel here for me to manage all of this. Because this comment persists through the document and the change is already done, I'm going to go ahead and delete this now to clean that up off of the presentation so we don't have those comments there anymore. And if I'd like to go ahead and download it as a PDF or a PowerPoint, I can. This looks good to go. This is ready to present. So let me just go through the first 2 slides here just to make sure that, there we go. It's all done and edited right there, and we are very proud of our work. So let's take a look. Comment on the 3rd slide. Let's go back in here. We're not actually done yet. Let's take a look and see what's going on. Comment on the 3rd slide. Let's see. There we go. So now let me go ahead and add a reply that it's adjusted. And we're all done.
So the point here is, these are comments that will show up identically. If you, finish editing this on the web, it syncs locally. You open up in PowerPoint, you're going to see these same comments. And so, it's another way to collaborate with both, together online in real time, as well as offline users or users that want to use full PowerPoint. It's a way to easily make it easier to work together. We've been using this internally at eFolder now for about 3+ months, something like that, and it changes the way that we work. The way we do meeting agendas and collaborate on documents, presentations. We made the presentation for this very webinar inside of the collaborative presentation editor. So, we find that it's just facilitating better productivity. Productivity that doesn't slow us down.
So just a couple quick questions that are kind of a technical nature. Is there any logical limit to the number of co-authors or collaborators you can have?
Not right now. Nope. We have actually had over 1,000 simultaneous collaborators in our testing.
Wow. Okay. And then are there any, I mean, what are the requirements in terms of the supported browsers?
All of the most common browsers are fully supported. We haven't run into any specific issues, whether it's Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, Firefox, etc.
Okay, great.
So I saw a question come through, does it support password-protected documents? And I didn't know, so while Matt was chatting away, I uploaded a document, password-protected by Word, a Word document. So if you want to go, Matt, to return to my files and go open that up, we'll see what that looks like. You know, it's a good question. So notice that this opened up already. The reason is I was already in there with the editing session, so I'm going to close my editing session now. I'm out of it. You know, Matt, if you back out of it. So the first person who opens that editing session, once that's gone, it's going to ask for that password before it allows you access to the document. If it's going to take a minute or two for the cache session to close, but you know
Re-authenticate.
Yeah, that's all right, Matt. I think it caches the session for a minute or two. But the answer is yes. You know, and so you need to be aware of how password-protected files work in the collaborative editing. You know, it's that first person to create that web session online will be asked for the password.
Great. So Kevin, we've had a lot of questions around, you know, kind of white label content and video that partners could use to educate their own clients and users. Can you talk a little bit about what we have in store there?
Yeah, in fact, it just came out this morning. It's good timing. So we have a fully brandable, white-labeled video that we can share with you right now. So it's on one of Ted's closing slides, and we'll send out the link in chat and by email on the follow-up. But it's a good couple-minute video that walks your users through what you can do with collaborative editing and how it works to educate them on the new benefits that are immediately available to them as part of this feature launch.
Yeah, and I think it's really important. I mean, I think this we can't say it enough, but you know, training and leading your clients in terms of how to use this technology to improve their workflows, to improve their productivity and collaboration, to do collaboration in secure ways, really requires, you know, your leadership and education. So there's many different, you know, ways you can accomplish that. But eFolder, we're always working with our partner playbooks and with brandable assets. We're always endeavoring to supply you with the meat that you need to use. But I just want to remind people that it does require your leadership at the end of the day to really help your clients transform their workflows with this technology and to start doing things in new and different ways and more you know, secure and productive ways. So let's see. So I guess, Matt, are we done with the final, I mean, are we done with demoing?
That's a wrap on the demo. Just want to thank everyone for their attention there.
Okay. Well, let's do this. Let's go back. And so now we're going back. Show my screen.
I got you.
Okay.
You're broadcasting.
Yeah. So we did the live demo, and just to remind everyone again, right? So this whole presentation, I've been, basically running this from the collaborative web editor when we're in this PowerPoint in broadcast mode. And so for those of you who asked specifically about the white label assets, Kevin has texted a public share link on Anchor to that actual video asset right there. So in the chat window on GoToWebinar, you can see that. It's also here in the presentation. And we'll be also sending out this link when we do the follow-up emails. Let's see. We've got a couple more minutes for questions, so let's dive on in here. And Kevin, if you see anything choice you want to cherry pick out. let's see. Lots of detail.
Copy paste of images or other objects into docs. Yeah. Yes, you can copy paste images into the document. So that's one of the annoying things about working with many web apps. Gmail recently, last year or two, added the ability to paste right into email, and a similar capability. And I'm just testing it right now on this Word doc. Yep, it works just fine. So clipboard, back and forth, copying and pasting from the web to Office, the local Office documents also works well, where it preserves much of the formatting as part of that.
Okay. All right. So I just want to, I'm going to just back up and just highlight, so just a couple final comments. What's I think is really important, so first of all I want to thank Kevin and Matt for leading such a really engaging demo today. I think everybody saw with their own eyes how powerful this solution is and how it really can transform how we think about Anchor as a platform. But just to kind of reiterate things, I mean, I think one of the things that we've really been doing the past couple months is emphasizing how Anchor is also a part of a business continuity strategy. The product includes file level backup, and it includes very robust ransomware defense capabilities. So, when and if a user or a server is ever infected with ransomware, the Anchor snapshot feature allows you to roll back to right before that ransomware infection happened and have your clients back up and running with their content unencrypted and free from the bad guys. And so really when you think about Anchor, we look at it as really a sync, share, collaborate, and business continuity platform today for you to help your clients do everything they need to do as a business to privately and securely manage and work with their content. So that's just kind of to wrap things up. Do want to remind everybody we'll be sending out copies of these slides. We'll be sending out the link to the brandable and white labeled educational video content that you can use with your clients. And I just want to encourage you, if you're not yet doing business with eFolder or you're not yet using the Anchor product, we'll be in touch, but there's an opportunity for you to do a one-on-one demo with a product expert. For eFolder partners, we have access to an NFR account for Anchor. And if you're using Anchor already and you're looking on how to take your deployment to the next level, I think the collaboration feature set is really a big, chunky, meaty set of new functionality you can take out to your clients and really drive adoption and really transform how they do business, which is really what it's all about at the end of the day. So with that, want to thank Kevin Hoffman, founder and CEO of Anchor, Matt Dugan, our senior product manager on Anchor, and for all of our partners for joining us today to spend some time to learn about this new functionality. This is Ted Hulsy, Vice President of Marketing, signing off from this special product launch event. Take care, everybody.